Let me just double check. I'm gonna pull stream down for just a minute just to make sure my settings are all okay. You can hear me just fine. All right. All right. Well, I'm not gonna pull the stream down. Then we're gonna just keep going. Here's red.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening for
Good
you
night.
folks in Korea.
Thank you.
I'm curious. What time is it where you are?
It's midnight right now.
Midnight.
Yes.
Why you would schedule to do this at midnight is beyond me. You must be a night kind of guy.
Well, truthfully, this is pretty much morning for me right now as well. So
Okay. Well, hey, that
that's
works for
why.
me. All right. Well, sweet. We get to talk about ZvT today. I'm quite excited.
So am I. It's a fun matchup.
I am going to just make sure that everyone on stream says they can hear you and hear me. And if I get a thumbs up from a couple people, then we will get started. So, they
All right.
say both
Sounds
sound
good.
fine, all good, thumbs up. Awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about ZvT, man. I wanna preface all of this by just saying that right now ZvT is hands down my worst matchup. Uh, and you know we've talked about ZvZ and ZvP a little bit. I played in the TL Open yesterday. Did you play in that?
No, I didn't. I actually went out drinking last night, so
So,
didn't play any tournaments.
all right, nothing wrong with that. So I played in the TL Open last night, and I got knocked out on a ZvZ because I just played against I didn't do anything that I've ever practiced before. I went like 14 pool, no gas, and then I got a late
Mhm.
gas and went banelings with slow zerglings on one base, and then I tried to expand.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would get you knocked out.
It was terrible, and I was pissed. But you know, in general, my ZvZ is okay. I've taken a lot of games off of really, really good players in ZvZ.
Mhm.
ZvP, I think, is probably my most competent matchup right now, and you know, we just talked about that a couple days ago. And
Okay.
you know, we've established, you know, ZvP can be really, really stupid right now. There are some really annoying things that Toss can do that just makes the Zerg player's life really hard. But
Agreed.
my understanding of that matchup is I'm extremely confident in that, and I can talk ZvP all day long and feel like I know what I'm talking about. And I can sit down and play a ZvP with, you know, a legitimate pro and feel, you know, like I'm in the game for 30 minutes. You know, we played a couple really good ZvPs a few weeks ago. We also played a couple pretty one-sided ones.
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel capable in that matchup. In ZvT, however, I feel blind and bad and shitty and terrible, and everything about it just fucking sucks. Um, from the earliest stages of the game, when Terran can start with this cheesy 2-racks crap and pull SCVs and just make life hard,
Yep.
all the way through the mid game when there always is a danger of being attacked, and you also have to be very careful about your scouting so you don't get backdoored by a bunch of banshees. And then even in the late game, because when a Terran gets on 2, 3, 4 bases, their macro is quite quite capable, at least in my
Quite
opinion.
scary.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they can just crank out, you know, more Marines than I can even make Banelings for. So I mean, just
Mhm.
every stage of the ZvT for me feels extremely volatile and very dangerous, and I don't feel like my understanding of the matchup is there. So I was hoping that maybe we could take these first 10, 15 minutes just to have you talk about, you know, this is how ZvT is supposed to work, and this is how you manage to not die in the first 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah, ZVT is definitely very challenging, but I feel like there are a lot of things that you can actually do back to Terran while he puts pressure on you. So I think right now ZVT is probably a better matchup than ZVP, for me at least. You just once you learn how to deal with all the different kinds of early game attacks, and you get into a comfortable position um, with enough economy and the right tech units available, I feel like you're gonna have quite a few options. So hopefully we can make life a little bit easier for you. I guess I can start talking about 2Rex. It's You know, ZvT is a lot about positions as well.
Hmm.
If you get cross positions, that's a lot better than you know, getting the closest positions, just because you know you get a lot more time to react, and that can make a huge difference. But I always go 15 hatch, 15 pool most of the time.
Hmm.
I don't really play maps like steps because I thumb them down. But you can't do that on those maps. But on standard macro maps, I like the 15 hatch, 15 pool. I don't know what your standard opening is right now.
I've been going 14 hatch, 13 pool.
Okay, well, that's a little safer variation. Um, I think you can afford 15-15 now. I think it's possible to hold off most marine SCV attacks with good drone control and just circling micro and going back and forth and trying to surround. So I think 15-15 is pretty doable.
Okay.
Basically, you just got to keep a drone down your ramp, have it patrolled so they don't bunker block you. And then if you established their 2-raxing, you can just you send down maybe 5 or 6 drones or 7 instead of the usual 3 when you
Hmm.
would main your expansion, and you just wait to see what's coming at you and build a spine. And usually you can go back and forth enough, like threatening to surround him, pulling back, that sort of thing, waiting for your zerglings, and then your spine will finish, and then you get into a comfortable position against the 2-rex opening. That's what I like to do. And obviously after that there's still a lot of problems, like they can follow 2-rex up in so many different ways. They can go Blue Flame Hellions right after. They can add 2 more barracks and go 4x and then hit you with some kind of crazy, insane marine timing when you don't really expect it. They can do a Banshee cheese right after that, or they can just, you know, take their expansion and play a standard macro game. So it's also very, very important that you always keep one of your overlords very close to his base, so you can just always send it in, so you can get a feel of what he's doing.
Hmm.
I think sacrificing an overlord is definitely one of the most important things in the ZvT matchup, and trying to get the timing right on when to send your overlord in. So that once you have the information you do need, I find that countering Terran becomes quite possible. Like, there's games where you just don't know what he's doing, and you don't know whether you need roaches or
Yeah.
speedlings or banelings or 4 queens because he's going Banshee. But once you do know that and you know what's coming, then once you hard counter them, the game just becomes a lot easier. So I think that's something you should look for. Always get scouting information, and then be able to make the appropriate counters.
Okay. So one thing that everybody loves to ask about is, okay, he's going Banshees. So let's say we don't know he's going Banshees. He's got a couple Marines kind of around the outskirts of his base. He's got 5 Marines at the top of his ramp. And so we're literally, we're like 100% blind. Um,
Yeah.
and we think, okay, it might be Banshees, but it could also be, you know, a 4-rax. It could also be, you know, some stupid Marauder Hellion push. You know, in
Yeah.
these situations where when we are completely lights out, and I find that I'm in this situation a lot, especially against better players. What are we supposed to do?
Well, basically, you just gotta keep your links near his base. You gotta try to get that overlord in. Like, even if there's a marine right on the edge, you're sending your overlord in. You might feel like, hey, I gotta pull that back because I'm not gonna be able to see anything. But I think you really have to just, even if there's a marine, you just gotta try to send it in, and then at the same time try to poke in with a ling at the front. Just do whatever you can to get information. But even if you can't get any information, then the timing in which he will move out, it will give you some kind of tell. Like, at some point he doesn't move out, then 4x is no longer an option,
Okay.
because 4x needs to attack at a certain time to be effective. So you can, as the game progresses, you can sort of cross out, okay, this is probably not happening. I gotta shift my focus towards something else. And then, of course, in ZvT, it's always useful to get 3 or 4 queens anyways, because you really want to spread your creep. quite aggressively in that matchup. So I think as long as you have a Baling Nest, a couple of queens, maybe a spine or two for some extra safety, you should still be able to hold off most attacks just by responding to them as they move out of their base. Like the 30 seconds you have between them leaving their base and coming to your base, you can morph 30 banelings, or well, 30 might be a bit much, but you can morph a few banelings and be ready in time. Or you can add, if you have 3 queens or 4 queens, you can add 2 more queens and maybe an overseer, and you might be able to stop that banshee at the last minute. A lot of ZvT games I play are just like that. It's really close. Like if they're all-inning me, I might just barely hold it, or I might barely not hold it. But it's getting to the point where I barely hold it a lot more than barely dying to it. So, just as you play more games, you kind of develop this amazing thing called star sense, and you're just able to predict better what's going to come at you.
All right. It's a random side question. How is Jinro's ZvT or TVZ these days, and how do you stack up against it?
Jinro's TVZ, well, he's just playing jungle basin right now, so
yeah,
because he has a match against the Kraken in GSL on that map. So I have to admit that playing jungle basing against Jinro is pretty tough right now. But I think on most maps, you probably go pretty even. In macro games, I think I usually tend to win, but if he does damage to me early, then he usually ends up beating me. So I think we're pretty even.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't want to get off topic too much, so it'd be really great if I had a Terran player for us to jump in game against, but it's early and there's just nobody online right now. I had talked to a couple guys, but I guess they're sleeping in. So how do you want to jump into this? We could kind of go, and are you comfortable enough with your Terran to off-race a game or two with me?
I can do that. You can also look for a Terran player. I don't know if anybody's awake right now. It's just a very early time on Sunday morning. I guess most StarCraft players do have lives, and they don't want to wake up early on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But I can play with my Terran. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do good though. It's not as good as my PvZ.
And now all the fine folks on our stream are going out and trying to find us people to play with. So in the next 5 minutes, I guarantee you we'll find somebody. And I guess I'll just go through the motion and set up a map. You said that you don't really play steps.
Yeah.
But steps positions are some things we sometimes have to deal with on Temple and on Metalopolis.
Yeah. I tried to deal with it for a long time, but it just was making me feel sick on the inside. So
yeah,
I started dumbing it down, and I just haven't been playing it. But I guess in tournaments sometimes you don't really have a choice. So whenever I get steps, I just all those things I just talked about become even more important. Just like with ZvP, you just have to be so much extra careful. And when I play steps, I usually just make uneducated guesses.
Yeah.
Like, I will see something, and I'm just going to take a guess. Because if I don't take a guess, like, there's no way you can be safe against everything on that map. So it becomes more a guessing game. And if you do guess correctly, then you can actually win on that map.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then, yeah, you die. I think, though, if you're a Zerg player and you're playing a Terran that is of similar skill to you, or maybe a little bit worse than you, you can actually go for the Speedling opening, which should give you more safety and map control against aggressive openings. That's also the way I play Delta Quadrant. And I do have some success with that opening. It's a lot harder than a standard game.
Alright, well, let's just go ahead and get ready to fire this game off, and we'll just see how it goes. And
is there anything you would like me to play a certain style with Terran, or just do whatever?
I always like to say,